Hey everyone, thanks for joining the Be Your Own Boss podcast. Today we have Adam Power, who is the founder of Powered Media. Adam, welcome. And
thanks for having me, man.
Cheers for being back on when I restarted up my YouTube channel. You've given me a lot of help over the years, so only fitting. Nice one for today, taking the time.
No problem, man. No problem.
Yeah, so would you, I suppose, give an overview of Powered Media and what it is you do?
Yeah, so basically what we do is like e-commerce growth for e-com brands, but basically what we started off was doing solely Facebook ads. So basically at the moment we still do Facebook ads, it's our main service, but over the years from working with so many brick and mortar businesses and like lead generation businesses and coaches, consultants, etc., we started getting consistent results there for e-commerce brands around over a year ago now at this stage, I'd say, and basically just kind of took on more e-com brands and started moving away from the whole brick and mortar side.
Yeah.
So basically what we did is we just added on more services. So we went from just Facebook and Instagram advertising to Google, YouTube, even Snapchat, Shopify creation, a lot of consulting on Shopify as well, and basically just became like an e-commerce one-stop shop for e-commerce growth.
Yeah.
So if you're a brand in e-commerce and you need to have like your whole package from a digital side of it to grow your brand from all angles, that's we can provide every service now.
And you create the content then as well?
I don't personally create content, but I have people who create content. Like for example, we're not a content agency, but we consult and advise on content so that the clients can provide exactly what we need.
That's even in our my own business with the shorts, like this is the move we're kind of looking to make this year, is that we're looking at I guess building artistic content, because obviously our you know Jordan, our media guy in Signature, and he definitely likes to create content that's very artsy.
Yeah.
But in terms of the format, I'm trying to like guide him through the process of actually just making all of our content purpose built for ads.
Okay.
Because I find at times, like we've produced content over the last year or so, and then you try and upload it to an ad platform and you're kind of, oh fuck, this needs to be like edited slightly differently or whatever. And I think it's good to kind of start with that. It's almost like a bottom-up approach of starting with the ads rather than the overall purpose of the content.
Yeah, exactly. Content's very important. Like content represents your brand online, and online is where your brand is seen every day. Like I can switch on the computer there, we have brands reaching 500,000 people a day. So like that content is that we're continuously showing to the audience is very important.
Yeah. So
it's a big thing to have your content the correct content put out there for the correct reasons and the correct audiences. So some brands will struggle with content, and I think a couple of reasons is a bit more traditional content is like a TV advert style does not work online.
No.
It doesn't work online. No. So you need to catch attention. So your content needs to be, what's the word I'm looking for, like a little bit attention grabbing, quirky, interesting, entertaining, something that your target market will be interested in, so that they start to come into the funnel of becoming a customer down the line. So,
and they actually feel like that they're kind of part of whatever community that you're trying to build. What are the various stages? The attract, engage, retain, is that the model in the funnel?
No, the model in the funnel would be awareness, consideration and decision.
Okay.
So again, you can't have your decision-based content on an awareness advert.
I get you.
You know
So
what I mean?
the first time you show something to somebody, you're not trying to sell to them straight away.
Yeah, and that's why so many people don't win online, is because they don't have their, like when I'm talking audiences, I could be talking 10 million people, so when I'm talking 10 million people, if you don't have them all divided up in a specific funnel and specific audiences that they're seeing the correct adverts at the correct stage, you won't win overall. You won't get the results that you're looking to get,
You don't try and proposition a one night stand in the middle of a club.
So you really need to tie in your content and have it working for you in the correct place.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's all about I suppose, understanding your customer then in that sense, because you're trying to actually figure out who the people are who know your brand already.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where a lot of what you do is around really is about what would you call it, like kind of actually knowing, like tracking the data of who is actually coming into the store, who's already aware, who's at various stages of awareness, and I guess you can track all that really.
Track everything. Yeah, exactly. So we literally divide everything up into different sets, like so like you'll have your view content, like you have your view content, your page viewers, your add to cart, your initiate checkout, and your purchases. So if someone's already purchased and you want to cross or upsell on other products, you don't show them people your page view content. Do you know what I mean? So it's dividing them all up into dividing the data up into different audiences. Yeah.
It wrecks my head at times because I'm on my phone and I've abandoned the cart and now I'm being shown the exact same products. And I know they're doing well with their ads. Like you're going, Jesus, they're making it very difficult for me to not buy that.
That's exactly it. And that's why it works so well, is because you're after time of building this up, your budget only goes to the correct people. So after a month, between kind of 30 and 90 days, you're always profitable, and that's when a massive scalability process comes in, where you're getting the 5-10x return on big budgets.
It's kind of like compound interest. It's kind of like the same. It's
compound effect, yeah. It's a snowball effect, like it genuinely is,
yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it's been a continual pain for me in the fact that I can't invest into ads and into getting somebody, a professional like yourself, to run the ads when starting off. It's actually, it's one of these things where I can see the opportunity, I know exactly that it's there, but it's just waiting until there's that budget there to actually throw something at it. But I'm working on it. I'm definitely get there. You'll be the first man to hit up.
Yeah. But you need to. That's what you need to. I wouldn't put my budget anywhere else if I had a brand. You know.
Yeah. That's what we're focusing on this year. Is literally just content, ads, and then stock. That's the main areas of focus this year.
Yeah.
And it's challenging. And you I think you had said to me before that typically e-commerce brands do better the more stock variants they have, because of the ability to cross-sell, upsell, and retarget the same audience.
Yeah. So like once you have your targeting coming in, you can use dynamic product ads, which is the most effective Facebook ad strategy there is. So you can literally that's what's falling around the internet when you're saying you view this product on your site and then you're seeing that advert will dynamically update for every different person.
Oh, interesting.
So
then, like, say for example, I'm on Boohoo and I'm looking at a pack of t-shirts, right, and I abandon the cart. Then I eventually go back and I buy it, but then I'm being kind of targeted with other Boohoo products as further down the line, and because they know that I've paid and that I'm likely to buy online.
People forget about that last step of the funnel, which is cross and upsell.
Yeah.
No, and other people come in too early and implement, and they lose budget. So you'd want to be at absolute minimum 5,000 sales, like to do that. But like once you do that, then you can start crossing and upselling. It's the last step of the funnel that can really bring. First of all, create lifetime value customers, create happy customers. Your reviews go up if they're buying a couple more products.
Yeah.
And it's the last step of the funnel that a lot of people forget about.
Interesting. I suppose I'd also like to bring the conversation back to you and kind of like your own personal journey about how you started this, because I'd imagine it's a laptop in a coffee shop kind of scenario.
Yeah, it actually was a laptop, and no, it was a laptop at home really, I suppose.
Then you graduated to the coffee shop.
Yeah. I actually I was fired from my job out in Striker 3 days before finishing up for Christmas, so just got my last paycheck. I was like, what the hell am I going to do? So again, what did I do? I saw an advert online, exactly, and I was like, this sold me. So I was in like a little bit of nothing to lose mindset.
Yeah.
So I watched a webinar with Ty Lopez, and Ty Lopez was just like, he's obviously a very good salesman. Ty Lopez, he's well known, and again, he could see this trend that was going to become a big thing, and then he when this was going to become a big thing, he was communicating in this video that for me to see it as well, and it really opened up my mind. I was like, oh my god, that's I can really see that working. So I watched the whole webinar, and he was kind of just saying, I watched a webinar and I was like, oh, that's cool, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then I was in a buddy's house at one stage, and my friend was just, I think he was like in his last kind of quarter in college in to get his degree in year 4 or whatever it is. And he came in, he was like, oh, my teachers was talking about this SEO thing, this Google advertising thing, this Facebook ads thing, social media management thing, that you can work from home from your laptop and build a business while working for businesses and like local restaurants and gyms and whatever it is. And I was like, oh my god, like, is that actually a thing? So I was playing on my mind for ages anyway, and then obviously I was retargeted with Ty Lopez stuff because I watched the webinar. And I think I literally had €1,000 in my bank, and the course was about $997 or something like that. So I was like, fuck. So I just bought it, locked myself away there for 2 or 3 months, learning everything. And I was kind of 2 or 3 months in, and I was like, nah, this is going to work. I lost faith completely. And this was probably about May or June, whatever year it was, 2017, maybe 18. And I was offered a job abroad over in Ios in Greece. So I went over there, had a mad 2 months, came back, and while I was over there, I was like, I could actually, it played in my mind all the time. And I read a couple of books. The same person who taught me about his lecture taught me about the book Think and Grow Rich. So I read Think and Grow Rich, and what Think and Grow Rich has done to me was, I read this book like literally every week. I will read a couple of pages of Think and Grow Rich, but what the book did was install something into me that instilled a self-belief into me, because the awareness that the book gave me and how it talks about all the steps towards riches, or riches not in monetary value but
in whatever you
want. So
you define the parameters of your own success essentially, and then you go for that.
So the book is, the first couple of chapters is like desire, fate. It's about like auditing yourself, so that do you have what it takes to pursue this massive venture. And I was just like, I was like, this burning desire is what they talk about, and is what Napoleon Hill, the author, talks about. And I was like, I have that, I can't get it off my mind. So I was like, let's go back at it. And then what I do is kind of just started reading books in the morning. So I read all the giant self-help books. Still don't, I have a very, very, very brief understanding of them, but every time I read them, I get a deeper awareness of what they are, and I'm kind of starting to grasp them. So read all the books, and then throughout the day I was finishing the program. I got certified, and basically just started telling all my friends. Had a part-time job in a bar at the weekends, I think I had. So I saved up a couple of £100 and bought a laptop, and I just started from there. Laptop. And what happened was, I basically told everyone in my circle. I was like, look, I'm starting this internet digital marketing thing. I can help businesses get like customers through online strategies in the door, or sales online or whatever. And I said to all my friends, look, say this to your boss in work or whatever, and I'll give you 50% of the commission, or 50 cents of the first payment. So in fairness, a couple of my friends did, and one of my friends worked in a barbershop, and he was like, look, my boss wants to meet you. And I went down and met, and I gave her a price, and took on my first client, and then I gave him the 50% commission the first month, but then I continued. I was with that client for like 10-11 months. And then my second client was the bar I was working in. I actually quit the bar and became on as a consultant to run their advertising online. So once I quit the bar job, I went in, I had 2 clients. That was around, say, August, I think. So I then went into college in. While all this was going on, I took a part-time course in college of business, just to literally find out how to send an invoice, how to manage an account, how to have a very, very brief overview of taxes, how to find an accountant, how to do all that stuff. So I went in there 6 weeks, gathered up all that, left straight away, and I had 2 clients, so I had a little bit of money coming in, and I just worked my ass off from there.
It's amazing that attitude that, like, say, you actually need, and the self-discipline to self-teach and to learn on the job. That's not easy. Like, no. I mean, especially when the whole lot of society would lean towards, well, not the whole lot, but the vast majority would lean towards you need a degree in order to you know, do what you're doing now.
Yeah, like it's I think if I came across this stuff even 2 or 3 years later, I would have just rejected it, because it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So I think if I didn't come across this information while I was 20, 21, I wouldn't have pursued it, because I would have rejected. I think I would have rejected. I think I like, because I say once people see you doing a little one, they're like, what are you doing or whatever, and you show them, they're like, oh, that can't be true. Because they're just, I think some people kind of just go past and they with the whole degree thing, they're like, how can you do that with a degree?
But I think it's one of the things that hold us back in general as human beings is the inner skeptic. As you were talking there a minute ago, I found it quite interesting of how you put the time aside to invest into reading those books you mentioned, because the first thing that happens when I see a Ty Lopez ad, I think, snake oil salesman. Like I literally, like I can't see past the fact that at times he comes off very cringy. But like clearly the guy is fucking mega successful. He is mega rich, and there is definitely merit to what he's saying. And at times I do feel like the inner critic or the skeptic holds a lot of people back.
Well, what I see is, again, going back to having to unlearn everything you learned in school. So like growing up and going through school for that whole long, every day you're taught, oh, do your homework now tonight so you'll have a degree when you're 20 or 24, whatever age you get a degree, I don't know. And you have to unlearn that. So like you have, like Bob Proctor is like who I do Bob Proctor's coaching. He's my coach. I invest in Bob's coaching. So like what Bob says is like you have to unlearn that logical part in your brain, and that logical part is built throughout school of listening to that every day. That becomes your subconscious programming of having to have a degree to do something in life. Whereas if you can unlearn that and relearn that you don't, and if you do a bit of research and figure out like nobody actually has a degree, like, do you know what I mean? Like no one, like I don't know, like most people who are Ty Lopez doesn't have a degree, for example. So yeah, like you it's about unlearning that, and it's about reprogramming the logical section in your brain. And it's also about, like, what I say to people all the time is like, I always say this is, your life will boil down on who you take information from, is kind of what I think. So like if I'm taking advice, it's, even though Ty Lopez could be saying do this thing, and in my logical brain I'm like, that's so stupid, like why would I do that? And then, but I want to get Ty's results, so I just do what Ty says, and it always pays off, you know. It's always about kind of taking information off someone who has the results, and not listening to that logical part in your brain.
It's interesting you say that, because I think is it that 90% of our thoughts are not our own. They're actually opinions of other people. So yeah, it's really important to actually decide who to take information from. Maybe the 10% should be focused on deciding who to take the other 90% from. But it's no, that's really interesting that you say that, because I do find at times that I do disregard information from some very successful people, but it's due to that voice, it's due to logic, because I would say that the vast majority of decisions I make in life are built around logic. And like you have to let go of your logic, like if you have to let go of your logic to get to the next level, is what Bob Proctor says. Because like Edison, like all these people, like I can't think of others now, but there's a big long list of people. They were dreamers, like they removed logic, like the Wright brothers who invented flying. That was only 100 years ago, like, and like they're in all the studies and them, like they say we're dreamers, like we remove logic from our brain and dream, and then everyone, like Conor McGregor's a dreamer, like he removes his logic, like you can't physically, logically see yourself becoming to where Conor McGregor went, so he had to completely remove logic and just have faith in that vision, which is exactly what Think and Grow Rich says, is having faith in your burning desire. And having faith that you don't need to know how to get there. Like Steve Jobs said, he could only ever connect the dots going backwards. He just had faith in this vision, and he was constantly in line with it,
and everything opened up, and he only connected the dots going back. He couldn't connect the dots going forward. So if he listened to his logic would say, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? Whereas he listened to he connected the dots going back.
Interesting. See, I find that I can, when I get into my, let's say, dreamer phase, because we go through spurts of it, right? You know, when you're in business and you kind of get a little bit of a lull, and then you kind of switch back over into that, you know, thinking kind of into the future and thinking ahead. I do find that I can still blend logic with it, right? And I'm wondering if that maybe what they're talking about with logic is like still entertaining creativity. There was a really interesting diagram that was kind of shown to me by somebody I work with on coaching. It was, but he's more in counselling, right? So I'm using it for both counselling and business coaching. And it's all about how you handle your emotions.
Yeah.
You've got 3 circles. So there's a red one down here, which is all the fear, the kind of resentment, I suppose that's probably the negative sides of logic. You've got the green, which is like I feel safe, I feel comfortable. And you've got the blue, which is creativity and kind of like the productive side of it. And I kind of found that it's almost like we're kind of looking at the same thing, but probably speaking different languages. Is I found that like alternating between the red and the blue was like I would confuse the two, right? Yeah. So you've kind of got your dreamer kind of state, but that can kind of lead to anxiety as well, where you kind of get crushed by your own dreams, or under the weight or the pressure of them. Yeah. And then you've got, you know, it's probably a lot healthier to kind of like alternate between the blue and the green. You know, like I feel safe, I have everything I need, so that then I can actually open that door for the creativity and the kind of that ability to dream and not be bogged down by that red circle of like, you know, no, that'll never work because X, Y, and Z. It's very tough to actually keep that mental fortitude, because, you know, we were discussing a bit earlier that it's no news to anyone that Facebook ads is like the next thing nowadays, right? Yeah. Still there's so many people who are slow to get there, myself included, and investing the money in it, even though, I mean, it's been proven for the likes of Movement, the watch company, for years, who are now, after selling out for 200 million to a watch group, Movada Group, and I think, you know, they literally based their entire strategy around Instagram, Facebook ads at a time when no one else was doing it.
And influencers,
and influencers, and then like those strategies combined, and even on the content, actually, not many people were doing very artsy content at that time, and investing in it, and it's like, it doesn't really take a whole lot of a creative thinker or critical thinker to actually see where these trends go, but it takes a lot of stones to actually jump on it.
Yeah, like it takes stones, as you say.
Yeah.
it takes like, it's about burning the bridges. It's like they're like, it's like there's a power in making a decision, that if you make a decision, again, going back to Bob Proctor, that's all I talk about is Bob Proctor. It's going back to Bob Proctor.
It makes sense to you, right?
Yeah. So like Bob Proctor's, he's a year 6-month coaching, it's 12 lessons. One of the lessons is decision. So it's like, decide, and when you decide, when you commit to a decision fully, you fuse with it, and everything else, it just opens up, the walls come down, and the way opens up when you fully commit. So like with the movement guys, they're just like, okay, I can see this working myself, so I'm going to commit to making it work. Like, whatever's I can see in my mind, they have a self-belief that they can hold in their hands, so they're just, I believe that they're just full speed ahead on their commitment, and it made it happen, you know?
Yeah.
So it takes creativity, it takes a bit of luck to see a trend like that, as they'll probably tell you, like, you know, so and it's obviously just hard work. Like, the dream is only step one. There's a million steps
that go in between.
After the dream, like, you know, but you can't have the willpower to take all them steps and go through all the struggle without the big vision. You can't put your energy in if you know you're going to get your energy out of it, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. That ability to kind of dream big is it's definitely something that I think we need to be learning a little bit more when we educate young people, you know, is to kind of like, okay, well, what would you like your life to look like? And then how can you work backwards from that? Sorry folks, battery cut out there a second ago, and then we had another malfunction when I forgot to press record, but what can you do? Powered on.
Yeah.
Did you see a little plug there?
Oh yeah.
So you were saying there that I suppose you made a strategic decision to actually not say anything to anyone when you were starting your own thing.
Yeah, like I didn't tell much people, like I didn't tell, I thought my family or my mother or whatever, my father, but like besides that, I didn't tell my friends until I had like that 1 or 2 clients or something like that. I can't remember what it was now, but I remember not telling anybody, and people ask me like, oh, what are you doing these days, or my uncles, or if I bumped into someone, I'd be like, oh, I'm in college, you know, I wasn't even in college, like I just said it, just so I just, maybe it was a little bit of caring what people think, or maybe it was a little bit of, as you say, you don't want to be the guy that has a going away party and is home the week after, you know, you don't want to quit your job and come back a year later then everyone's saying, oh, he's back.
Sure, yeah, I got home from the States after a year living there, told everyone about my 3-year visa, which was going to be another 3 years, so 6 years in total, and then I was back 6 months later. So, it's definitely wiser to keep your head down, and then it actually, you know, what the beauty of that is as well, is you've actually less opinions muddying the waters.
Yeah.
Because if you think something will work and you're committed to trying it, the last thing you need is a negative voice actually telling you, but what about X, Y, and Z? And that's because they're bringing their own personal circumstances into it, you know?
Yeah.
Because people can only, I guess, ever look at things from their own perspective.
Mm.
And I think there's a lot of merit to what you're saying, you know, of keeping it quiet.
Yeah.
However, if you're in the business of having to put content out there, it's a tough line to
exactly.
Tough to toe the line, but yeah, man, you're a big inspiration anyway in what you're doing.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
I hope more young fellas who, you know, feel a bit disenfranchised from in the situation that they're in, whether it be with school or their job, can actually take a lot from this.
Yeah.
It may not necessarily be a Facebook ad agency, but finding something that essentially at least you have the target of setting yourself free.
That's it, exactly, yeah. And that's what I'd love to do, say, in a couple of years, is to help people who are in my position when I was 16 to 20 and fucking, just in school going nowhere, and stuff like that. So yeah,
It's grand. You can get them to work for experience. It's poweredmedia.com. No, I'm only messing, but it is poweredmedia.com. It's Powered Media on Facebook and Instagram, isn't it?
Yeah,
brilliant.
that's exactly it.
Come here, thanks very much, Adam.
Michael, no hassle, all right. No hassle.